last night for LSU. As look, this is going to be everybody's Super Bowl. You could sense it for Mississippi State. This was a huge game for the Bulldogs. They were packed house. Place was rowdy. It was a heck of an atmosphere, and Mississippi State was ready to play. You could see that from the jump, really. And LSU just did not have enough at the end of the game to overcome it. Missed shots, didn't get second chance opportunities like they're used to, and got them a little bit out of their game. Mississippi State was able to pull LSU a little bit out of their game, and next thing you know, back-to-back losses for the Tigers. They it seems like they got a little bit of an issue at the point guard spot, right? With Van Lith, she's playing a little out of position, and you know you put Poa in there, and she can't really keep up the standard that you're looking. It looks like that's really kind of the issue of where they are, and then of course the missing Samaya Smith, no Kateri Poole. The numbers are just brutal. The depth, the lack of depth, and being able to overcome that, especially at this point in the year where people are starting to get, just a little beat up. They're starting to get, worn down. I mean, it's just that part of the season where, it's becoming a little bit long now. And, for LSU right now, they got to find it. For this team, though, I think they can overcome this. I don't think that this is the end of the world. I don't think that this is going to be a team that hits some type of, losing streak and kind of spins out of control. I just think that they're a tired bunch. Like I said, I don't think that the Thursday break extended week could have come at a better time for LSU. Kind of get your legs back underneath you. Take this week to rest a little bit and, kind of find their way for the second half of the season. Is this what you were talking about, Lloyd?
Yeah, it's just Haley Van Lith in the huddle through a timeout. It just looks like there's a little bit of confusion in the huddle, especially from the Van Lith perspective. I don't know if she's confused about the play that they're calling or her role in the play, but this is the kind of thing that you're kind of alluding to with the point guard position where, I mean, that's your engine right there. She's still talking to the coach when the whistle blows. So all those things are kind of coming to a head, and people are obviously going to record these type of deals and put them on the internet as LSU is obviously enemy number one. And so when stuff like this comes out, it's obviously going to get major run on social.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
because I don't think it's been bad. Like, I understand that it's clunky at times. It definitely, there's some moments where you can see that she's struggling to not play the two and she understands what a point guard does. She wants to be passive and get everybody involved, but you saw some of her best moments against South Carolina when she was off the ball. And that's what she kind of does well, is gets it out of her hands, finds a spot on the wing or makes a back cut and scores. She's an aggressive, ISO ball player, and forcing her to play the point is something that whenever it gets tight, it gets uncomfortable.
Sometimes I don't get it. I really don't. I don't.
What's
understand.
your other option?
I would put Flaugier there.
That's what I've been saying too. But apparently, some of the stats allude to that. It's more turnover prone with the ball whips around more, but it's harder to hold on to. There's a lot of because she doesn't run the point. She hasn't been practicing there, so it's a lot of unexpected passes where it gets turned over a little bit. And then I saw an article where they thought Michaela Williams might be able to do that, but how much more do you want to put on her?
Yeah, I know. How smooth was that three-pointer at the end?
That's,
I mean, that was.
Well, that's what you get. That's why you keep.
That's why you can't have her.
If she runs the point, yeah, you won't have her legs.
Right. I mean, they have a situation. I mean, they have they got an issue at point guard, really, and postseason play is as much about guard play as any other spot on the floor. I mean, I know that everything's key, but in the postseason, you got to have a quarterback. You have to have a guard. You have to have somebody who can handle it, especially when the stuff gets tight, when the pressure gets there. And LSU's going to play in some pressure-packed situations because of an example just like last night. Anytime you show up, it's going to be the other team's Super Bowl. It's going to be the other team's biggest game. It's going to be like what LSU put on for South Carolina. I mean, the whiteout, the the pack the PMAC, the party on the ramps, the deal. I mean, when LSU pulls into town, that's what they are. I mean, that's who they are. That's the attention that they're getting for the opposing school and the opposing team. So, I think I am a little surprised when you talk about LSU and kind of some of the things that they've had to put up with this year and some of the things that they've had to deal with removing players, suspensions, that they haven't gone to like Janae Kent, who's a freshman, and I don't see all the practices. I don't see any practices really at this point. But I mean, I did see some preseason practices where Angelica Velez and Janae Kent, who are a part of this star-studded recruiting class that came in alongside, Aaliyah Del Rosario, along with the transfers in Van Lith and Anissa Morrow. I am surprised after, removing Kateri Poole from the team, losing Samaya Smith to injury, that you haven't seen those two.
Well, do you think that you're at that? Do you think you're at that point in the year? Like, is it almost worth trying to just put some other pieces in where you try to find a spark at point guard, or is it? First of all, I thought that they would be more prepared. I know coming off the South Carolina game, and they got out to a lead against Mississippi State. Like, it looked easy.
Yeah, they were
almost up 13.
Yeah,
and then it just kind of you just saw it kind of get away from them a little bit, and then they try to flip the switch in the fourth quarter late, where you saw the defensive effort ramp up to the point where it's like, oh, we're forcing this thing because we might lose. Like, the team got to the point where we're running out of time.
Yeah,
and you saw the defensive effort where they hold them to what the last 5 minutes did they
scoreless,
and then they hit that 1-3 after after the Anissa Morrow gets the turnover, throws it off the glass, and then Mississippi State gets the long rebound, hits the corner three, and then LSU comes back, tries to match with the three, but that was the dagger at the end of it. But it's the effort and intensity. But when you're this thin, it's hard to play as hard as you can for 4 quarters because you're just not going to be there. You saw it happen against South Carolina, where the depth is becoming an issue because the fourth quarter at home, where you should be feeding off the energy of the crowd, it's hard to get those legs going again because you're playing 6.
Yeah,
maybe. And Poa played all of 30 seconds against South Carolina. She checked in and checked right out.
Right. And she had a rough stretch last night.
Well, that's what you get. I mean, she is the equivalent of a 6-man, where you can either come in and provide a huge spark, or it's okay, not your night, out. And that's kind of what you have to work with. So I don't know if maybe you should have worked. I guess with all of the drama coming in early, it was hard to work in freshmen, and you're just trying to get your sea legs again because the season started off where the drama was on tilt with all of the LSU women's basketball, national championship, NIL deals everywhere, and it just felt like you tried to hold it together. So I don't know if that was the best time to insert a new piece, but you also don't want to do it in the middle of conference play where you already have 2 losses.
Yeah.
And then you have to start thinking about, I guess, the schedule-wise. Like, you have a Colorado appearance, but you didn't get a win. So you just start thinking about, I guess, tournament seeding. But at the end of the day, the cream usually rises, especially in women's basketball, to just get into the tournament.
Yeah. No, and look, like I said, I don't think that the panic meter for this team right now is in the red. I think that there's some concerns. There's some things that they need to work out. There's some things that they need to figure out. And, from a rotational standpoint, some playing time standpoint, some positional standpoint. But, I think all in all, this team is going to be there in the end. I mean, I think this is a tournament team that can make a deep run in the tournament because of the talent here. They just got to get some things figured out, and I think they will. By no means is anybody saying that this is a spot where they've got to blow anything up or they have to panic. They just got to. They have some issues that they need to work out within the team on finding some minutes, finding some time, and putting some people in the right spots or getting the most out of the people that are playing the spot. And I think that they'll be fine. But the point guard issue, I think, on both sides, on offense and defense. I think, being able to control the game, to being able to handle the ball and handle the pressure at that position, to being able to defend that spot. I think is something that LSU has going against them right now that they have to figure out.